Welcome back, everybody. This is QuestionMarc, and I am once again here with my roommate, and we are going over another tier list, this time of all of the new commanders in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles standard set of Magic the Gathering that is just now coming out. We have these tiers that you have hopefully seen before on our channel. They are mostly self-explanatory, but we are coming at this exclusively from the point of view of how these cards will play in Commander, even though these cards are standard legal. There's 72 of them. So this is going to be broken up into multiple parts, maybe 3 something parts like that. But we are both experienced Commander players, and we're going to devote a couple minutes to talking about each of these cards and how we think they'll work in Commander settings, especially as the leader itself. A bit possibly in the 99, and also I might talk a little bit about the lore if I feel like it. Because I am a little more familiar with the lore, although both of us are well out of date for anything very new. So that said, to get us started, the first commander on our list here, alphabetically, is Agent Bishop Man in Black. This is one of those characters that I do not remember. He is 2 and a white for legendary creature human soldier. He's clearly some kind of FBI guy. But he's a 1/2. And at the beginning of combat on your turn, put a +1/+1 counter on each of up to 2 target creatures. Alright, what are you thinking here?
Well, a little underwhelming.
For sure.
Monocolor, at least is a repeatable effect. I, as a Sisei player, looked half at it of does this pump Sisei more than just the colors? But still, not much for 3 mana.
Yeah, this is really underwhelming. I mean, there are cards very similar to this. In fact, I believe there's... it's like Hero of Precinct something, maybe? Is that what I'm thinking of? Not quite. This one, no. Well, there is a creature out there, I believe is a 2/2, that at the beginning of combat you put a 1 counter on a creature every turn. And while that is half of the effect on a single card, I don't know that you'd want that as your commander either, honestly. The effect is too small. So the only thing keeping it out of the lame list, is it worth playing in the 99 of a deck that includes white and +1/+1 counters?
Potentially,
Honestly,
much.
I doubt it.
It might almost, if you squint hard enough, be playable in group hug.
Right, because that is one of the main things, is that it is repeatable, it is free, and you can put them on any 2 creatures. In fact, you technically don't have to put them on any creatures because it says up to, but you can put them on your opponent's creatures if you want. But Agent Bishop is at best at the bottom of better in the 99. Honestly, I'm going to put him in lame because I think he probably doesn't even make the 99 in most decks that include white and +1/+1 counters, because he just doesn't do enough. Most +1/+1 counters decks already have it kind of locked down how to get those counters. There are many other options.
I'd make a Men in Black forgetting joke, but you've probably already heard it.
Oh, yeah, even if you can't remember.
Yep.
Next, we have April O'Neil Hacktivist, who is 3 and a blue for a legendary creature, human scientist. At the beginning of your end step, draw a card for each card type among spells you've cast this turn, and she's a 1/5. Alright, so how about this one?
That is card draw on a commander, which is wonderful.
Yeah.
And it is not just draw 1 or 2. You could potentially draw a card for each card you've played, or if I'm reading it correctly, you cast a single spell that has more than 1 card type, and then you draw multiple.
Yes, that is the idea. So there are 9 card types in Magic, if I'm recalling correctly, because I have a Delirium deck that cares about that sort of thing. And the easiest one in this case is going to be like Artifact Creature, where you can get just 2 for like 1 or 0 mana if you look at an Ornithopter, for instance. Just to illustrate my point.
Can you get the trigger for land?
Nope, because you cannot cast land.
Can
So
you cast something that still has the land type
you
on the
there
card?
is. Ooh,
No.
wait a second. Wait a second. Okay, okay, I see what you're saying there. So like what Lindblom. There's the question. If you
Yeah.
cast Mage Seed or Siege, do you count it as land? And I believe the answer is no. You have cast an instant called Mage Siege, even though the card also has a land element to it. Let's see. The spell that you've cast only has the type instant. So I don't believe there is any way to cast a land in a way that April will check.
And even the adventures with being non-land parts, the creature, etc., you wouldn't be able to benefit from.
Right, because when you cast an adventure, it looks at just the types
Part you're
of the
currently casting.
chunk, basically from the name down.
Yeah.
And Dryad Arbor also, even though it's a land creature, it says right on it that it isn't a spell. So playing Dryad Arbor would also not trigger April, even though of course Dryad Arbor is green. You can't play it with April as your commander.
Yeah.
So you're pretty much
Held
never
back a
going to get
little bit.
land.
Yeah.
But artifact creature,
And yeah, I mean, very rarely going to get battle or any of the weird types. It's mostly going
yeah.
to be
The other
couple.
types that are hard are going to be that battle and kindred can be pretty tricky. Although there are a couple, I think.
And it will feel a little bad when you're in mono blue and you cast your instant speed control spells on your turn.
Yeah. So I think the easiest ones to get are going to be sorcery with things like ponder, preordain, serum vision, stuff like that. As well as artifact creature is going to be the easiest one because they can cost practically nothing, maybe literally nothing. Instants, you're probably going to lose a lot of value on those. Enchantments, they don't overlap a lot. There are a few enchantment creatures. There's even at least one enchantment artifact. Do you know? I think there's just one enchantment artifact. Do you know what it is?
Not off the top of my head.
It's the Bident of Thassa.
Yeah, do have that in the
Enchantment
deck.
artifact. There's one in each color combination and or in each color for the five gods of Theros, and I think that's it. So if you want to trigger April for 2 off of an enchantment, one of your best bets is going to be Bident of Thassa. Another one, like enchantment creatures, we have things like the archetype of, I think it's imagination. Yeah, that's an enchantment creature. There aren't a lot of enchantment creatures that are probably worth playing in Commander usually. And is it worth it if you can draw 2 cards at the end of your turn? Maybe, actually.
I mean,
Every creature becomes a Muldrifter?
you have no win con on the commander.
Right.
And mono blue already struggles with that. And if you spend most of your deck gaining 1 extra value card draw, you'll see a lot of cards and hopefully have enough mana to cast them and still not have won the game.
Yeah, I mean, if you're playing mono blue, you either need to have a win condition or you would need to, I think, really focus on instant speed control to the point where you could build in some combo and, like, maybe tutor for it or just control the game long enough that you can play it out. And she doesn't lend herself to either of those things. Because she can help you find more pieces and stuff, but she kind of discourages you from playing instants, like we were saying. So,
No, some, but yeah, you don't get as much advantage from the instance.
yeah, in my mind, I'm putting her in questionable. She could be better in the 99 if you're playing a deck that includes more colors, so that you could more easily get out, planeswalkers or something like that. But honestly, I still think your best bet is going to be just aiming to draw 2 cards a turn with her by playing artifact creatures. Go artifact creature and card draw so you can get sorcery sometimes. That's probably your best bet. And that deck, the win con might just be artifact creature go wide, like things that give artifact creatures +1/+1 and stuff. I don't think that's very viable. So, boop, 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 boop. Next is April O'Neil, but she can kick. She's a kunoichi trainee. I believe kunoichi is a term for a female ninja. But she's a one and a white for a legendary creature human ninja. And keeping in mind that this set is part of a trend that a lot of people don't like of legendary commons. So we can't really expect too much from this. When she enters, scry 2, and she's a 2/2 who can't be blocked by creatures with power 3 or greater, which is very similar to Skulk, but not quite Skulk. What do you think?
I mean, yeah, it's very underwhelming as a commander. Could go in some ninja decks.
Yeah.
Maybe human decks, but more likely ninjas.
Yeah.
There's enough good ninjas now that have better evasion or more powerful ETBs, and having a okay version of each is okay. I guess maybe there's not a lot of white ninjas.
There aren't. There's actually a bit more than I thought. Although, wow, that's one that isn't in this set. I was kind of surprised to see there's even... Yeah, there's one that wasn't in this set. Because I was thinking that ninjutsu would actually be an interesting way of getting her Scry 2 to trigger again, as well as sneak. So, do I think that she's a good commander? No. It is interesting, though. Skulk is an ability that would scale up with her power. And she does have the ability that no matter how powerful you make her, she still can't be blocked by creatures of 3 or greater. So,
although if she's a 21/21 and she's chump blocked by a 1/1, that just feels worse.
yeah. So, I mean, okay. Is there a white ninja deck? I think there's about to be
There was a new one.
Esper ninja deck coming. Would she make it in the 99? Barely. Maybe. Probably not, actually.
I would definitely.
I'm going to keep her at the bottom of better in the 99.
I would look at her when making that deck and probably kick her out.
If I remember later on, I'm probably going to be shifting her down. In fact, you know what? No, I'm going to do it preemptively here. Her evasion ability in white might be helpful for a non-blue ninja deck, but why would you build a non-blue ninja deck? I don't think... Even then, the evasion ability, you're right, doesn't help you get around 1/1s and 2/2s, so I don't think she's going to make the cut. So, we're going on to April, Reporter of the Weird. So this is the uncommon April, and she's for 2 and a blue, a legendary creature human detective. Whenever April deals combat damage to a player, draw that many cards, then discard a card, and she's a 2/2. Okay, you were talking the other day about that merfolk, Cold-Eyed Selkie, and she is very similar to Cold-Eyed Selkie in the command zone.
Yep, it will definitely. This could go in that clone deck, where the Sulky wouldn't be able to unless they change the hybrid rule.
Which it doesn't look like they're going to do at this point.
Yeah.
Gavin posted a video that included a talk about it where they said that unless it was, very overwhelming majority that thought that it was positive, then they weren't going to make a change that big. So they're probably not going to even consider that for many years to come.
Yep.
Which is fine, honestly. That's the safer choice for sure. But looking at her...
I have a couple decks that have a commander that says almost the same thing of hit someone for a lot, draw that many cards. They have access to more colors.
There's the creepy lady.
And
the key thing there is the whole you may draw that many cards. So if you can make the Cold-Eyed Selkie bigger, then it draws you multiple cards. It has evasion built in, but of course isn't a legend, so it can't be your commander. April can be your commander, can draw multiple cards, starts off a little bigger. Right, -1. And there are quite a few ways of
benefiting from discard too.
Yeah, exactly.
The mono blue isn't the best Voltron color.
No, it's not. Although it would be one of the better colors for like drawing a bunch of cards and discarding one as a way of like filtering and looting.
It
There are a
and
few.
lots of support around Voltron.
Yep.
You just getting it big is going to be a little bit of a problem. It's a solvable problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it may not be as big as some of the different colored decks, but still a solvable problem. And yeah, if you want a lower power version, definitely doable.
Talk about a card that probably no one watching this video has seen in Commander before. I don't know why Zephid's Embrace is one of the first cards that comes to mind, but it gives her +2/+2 flying and shroud. And that covers the evasion, the power, and the defense all on April by herself. Now she's hitting for 4 flying, drawing you 4 cards and discarding you 1, and nobody, not even you, can target her. So, as rare as those cards are, I for some reason have never forgot about the Embrace cycle as actually kind of good, even though nobody plays them because they're auras and they all cost like 4. But there are, of course, other cards like this, but is it worth it to go to that effort to take this uncommon, gray ogre stats, a 3-mana 2/2? I don't think so, really.
I mean,
Personally.
scaling card draw is one of the most powerful things you can do, and that
I think she goes here. Because once again, we lack payoff. Honestly, I see her as very similar to Hacktivist, that you can jump through different hoops to end up with basically the same result of drawing cards with no plan. At least this one directs you to do things like playing artifact creatures and sorceries. This one,
it
I guess
directs you
you're
to
playing
Voltron.
mono blue Voltron, and I guess the plan is to kill with April herself. Then,
yeah,
okay, well then Zephid's Embrace is bad because of the shroud,
yeah,
or at least it
but
would better be the last thing you put on her. I
other
don't know.
equipment and yeah, I mean, can get her big, and the drawing cards will let you get her bigger and bigger, and then mono blue, so you'll have lots of protection along the way. The card draw will hopefully solve mana, not as good as other colors, but
Oh, and she doesn't penalize you for playing instants.
yep.
Okay, you know what? I've decided to move her up at least to the top of questionable for now, and there may be more going in the middle here, in part because I can see a mono blue Voltron as maybe a personal challenge someone might have fun doing. Maybe. But I don't really like either of them. Honestly, commanders that have like one pretty straightforward ability don't usually do it for me. So, let's go on to the next on our list, which is, oh god, one of the biggest, baddest mothers in this whole set. Armagon, Future Shark, and he's humongous, people. Remember that the Ninja Turtles are most of the time depicted as taller than average human beings, like 6 feet, maybe a little over 6 feet, and this thing is gigantic. It's 6 and double black, so 8 total. For a legendary creature, Shark Horror Mutant, it's got Flash. When it enters, destroy up to 3 target creatures, and it's a 9/6 for 8. And if I remember right, I saw somebody saying that this is like a deep cut from the comics, like not a character that comes up very much, but one of the most terrifying and intimidating characters in the comics. So I can see it. What do you think as a commander, though?
That's too much mana for
Yeah.
much. I mean, destroying 3 things is a decent value thing to do. I could see spending 4 mana to do that in some decks.
You know what? I think I've got a read on this guy pretty quick here. This guy's good in the 99.
If you happen to have ways to cheat him out or not pay that full mana cost, then
He
yeah.
seems like possibly the best in this set if you're doing Reanimator. If you can get this guy out for like 2 mana from the graveyard, then he's sick. The flash thing may or may not matter, but or also there are people who build like big black decks where they've got your Cabal Coffers, Urborg combo, They've got Cryptghast and stuff like that, doubling their swamps. But even then, if this is your commander, Flash is best used as a surprise, and in the command zone, that's not a surprise.
It's at least a omnipresent threat. It's not just on each of my turns I could destroy three things. It's at any given moment that you displease me, I could destroy three things.
It's a threat
Yeah.
and a promise. Okay, still, I think that your best bet is going to be Reanimator, where bringing out a 9/6 that destroys three things
Yeah.
is a very powerful play, and then, you could have sack outlets in the deck so that you can drop it back in the graveyard, bring it back out again, like a Shieldred deck or something.
Or
Could
ones
be pretty
with
brutal.
multiple colors, so that
Oh, yeah.
the mana cost isn't actually that much.
Oh yeah, like green-black Reanimator maybe, I don't know.
Yep.
So better in the 99, I'm pretty happy putting him there. You may see him in Commander games, though unlikely to be in the command zone. Next we have Baxter Stockman. This is the uncommon version of him back when he was a man. I mostly know him as a bug. But he's 3, a blue and a red, so 5 total for a legendary creature human scientist. He's a 3/3, and when Baxter Stockman enters, create a 1/1 colorless robot artifact creature token. At the beginning of combat on your turn, target artifact creature you control gets +3/+0, gains first strike and vigilance until end of turn. So what do you think?
It's make your hidden commander Voltron deck, as long as the hidden commander is an artifact. So not as good as actual Voltron. I'm not a huge fan of artifacts anyways, but they might be some semi-powerful things you can do with it. In general, not super scary.
I would agree, and honestly, that's probably going to be a running thing here for the uncommons and the commons. Honestly, we reviewed the commander deck the other day, and we put one card in lame. And part of the reason why I realized afterwards, I was thinking, like, do I need to adjust my ranking, my thresholds on this? Well, those cards are designed with commander in mind. These cards are designed with, like, draft and standard in mind. So he's supposed to be a pretty good card in draft and standard, and probably not in standard, but in draft, I bet this guy's good. Because he triggers on entry, so he'll leave something behind even if someone removes it, and who wants to spend removal on a 5-mana 3/3 that already made a body? But at the beginning of combat, even the turn he enters, you make one of your artifact creatures get bigger, so if you already had an artifact creature, you could attack with it. First strike and vigilance can be pretty powerful.
7 power for 5 mana is not horrible.
Oh yeah, because 3 for himself, 1 for the robot, so that's 4, and then 3 more every turn from the other thing. And honestly, people underestimate first strikes sometimes, because first strikers will often fight uphill and win over and over again. So, that said, only starting that action on turn 5 is a little slow. So, I think I personally want to put him in questionable again, even though to me he seems a little more viable than some of these, because I can definitely imagine a blue-red artifact creature deck where, you just win by playing lots of robots, you've got some control backup, and, you're just giving them first strike and giving people heck.
Only buffing one at a time definitely lowers the cap to me, but
Yeah, and also he's got that enter trigger. There are going to be a couple ways of flickering him in blue, but honestly, if the benefit is just a 1/1, it's probably not worth it.
yeah.
So, I
think the mono blue ones are stronger than that, but
really. I'll trust your judgment on that at least. I was hesitant to put him all the way in lame yet, because personally I would have more fun playing this than these, in large part just because it's 2 colors, and because I like combat. But I might like combat more than you. I certainly like winning that way.
I like drawing cards.
Yeah.
Uh,
And Baxter Stockman doesn't draw cards, so what the heck? Are you smart enough to draw cards? You don't look it, not in this mode. So let's go on to Bebop and Rocksteady, though. This was one of the earliest cards previewed for this set, and they're a 1 and 2 black-green hybrid, so 3 mana total for a legendary creature Boar Rhino Mutant. They're a 7/5 for 3, but whenever Bebop and Rocksteady attack or block, sacrifice a permanent unless you discard a card. So, what do you think about these beefy boys?
So decent in the 99 of Reanimator style decks, but you don't actually need to cheat the mana. I guess there's a set of decks that get rid of the negative drawbacks of cards, and so if you can delete that text box, then he's a cheap 7/5.
Yeah?
For just Voltron, there's a lot of competition, and I don't think just the base 7/5 is worth it. Especially since the main benefit you're getting is his cheaper mana cost, which just means you've hit a couple people earlier, got them mad, not killed anyone, and now have to deal with the consequences.
Well, I think this commander has a few things going for it that do make it a little more special than it perhaps appears. Being black and green and costing exactly 3 mana means that you could pretty consistently get this commander out on turn 2 by playing a Llanowar Elves, a Birds of Paradise, a Findhorn Elf. There's quite a few at this point, 1-drop mana dorks that can get you this guy reliably on turn 2. And then he also has the special number of 7 on his power as a commander. And 7, as you know, you only hit someone 3 times and they receive 21 commander damage and that player loses. So this guy has 2 different things helping him to be very efficient at going for that silver bullet win, but he does need a little bit more help beyond what we've already said because he doesn't have evasion. And of course, you do have that drawback. Sacrificing a permanent, discarding a card. Honestly, your deck will be built around getting around that drawback somehow. On a typical game, though, I imagine the answer is just, I don't need more cards in my hand. I already played Bebop and Rocksteady on turn 2. I already put something on him, like I don't know, Warhammer or something. Maybe Rancor, something like that. And now I'll just discard cards from my hand until I've won the game. That you don't need much else once you've got him set up. Is that going to be fun for you? I think that's a matter of judgment. It turns into a brawl. And of course, there are a lot of cards where sacrificing them has some kind of benefit. You definitely want to look for some of those. Discarding them has benefit from Madness and Mayhem. So I think that this is maybe the best commander that we've seen so far, to the point where I'm going to be a little controversial and put him in high potential, even though he might be at the bottom of it. I would almost put him in questionable, except I honestly think that he has those 2 things going for him that make him a really viable super or silver bullet commander, and I think that you can get around the drawback pretty easily in those 2 colors. I think.
Yeah,
So technically questionable, but I'm making a judgment call here.
yeah, the asterisk for me is you do the mana dork and you're killing someone turn 5. That makes this a bracket 4 deck. And I'm not sure it could hang with other bracket 4 decks after it's killed one of them.
No, I mean, I would think, okay, there is a discussion to be had about the kind of like time minimum recommendations that are given by some of the more recent updates to the bracket system. When they talk about, like, you don't expect the game to end before a certain time. Well, we've all experienced games where one player is taken out.
It does say in there,
You
or a
know.
player to lose.
Or player
So
to
it's-
lose.
So you killing someone on turn 5 is someone losing on turn 5 before that's supposed to happen. For me personally, I don't like that play style and environment that creates. It feels bad to knock someone out that early, especially if you can't guarantee knocking everyone else out one turn after that each.
You know what?
But
You've talked me into it. Because you're right. The optimal strategy with a Silver Bullet Commander is to focus on one player until they die. And then each player after that becomes significantly harder to kill. Because you probably only... You usually go after the weakest link, you know? So then it becomes kind of a 2-on-1 sooner. But you will usually not have the resources to go after the other two players. Will Bebop and Rocksteady help you with that? No, he'll hurt you with that. You'll be discarding cards, you'll be sacrificing permanents. So you're right that this style would only be viable, fair, to be taking somebody out that fast in a higher power level, and he will not help you hang in that higher power level. Compared to one or two of my decks that are fast, could potentially kill one player quickly, but I say that they are either high 3 or 4. Like my Wilson deck, I keep saying is a 4 because it can do that and it can hang with the higher interaction commanders. So, alright, you convince me. Next we'll look at Bebop Warthog Warrior. Now he's a common, so once again I'm keeping my expectations low, but he's a 4 and a black, so 5 mana for a legendary creature, Boar Mutant Warrior. He's a 5/4 with Menace. Rhinos you control have Menace, and Swamp Cycling for 2. What do you think?
So I'm gonna separate my brain into two.
Okay.
The Menace and what did the other thing he did that doesn't really matter?
Rhino, Swamp Cycling?
No, the Rhino stuff. So yeah, Rhino Tribal I don't think is much of a thing. In 10 years, maybe. But changelings also exist, but yeah.
True.
I would feel sad playing a Rhino Changeling deck.
Did I mess that up, though? Wait a second. Oh, here's the problem. He's not even a Rhino. It's his friend, the Rocksteady's the Rhino, so he actually gives Menace to... talk about a bad tribe. Mono Black Rhinos is bad.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't need double Menace anyways, but...
Yeah.
Yeah, so that, not great. Just him as a body doesn't pass the vanilla test.
Wow.
That said, there's the whole cycle of new commanders, that land cycle.
Yeah.
And I don't think Black's necessarily going to be the best at that, but there could be a very interesting land cycling deck, if I understand the rules right, because land cycling's not casting.
True.
So
it's
you don't have to
activating
pay
an ability.
commander text.
So you can only discard a card from your hand. So you cannot Swamp Cycle him from the command zone.
Okay.
Which honestly means that this guy is, in my opinion, not viable whatsoever as a commander. However, I think he is great in the 99.
Let me rephrase that. In a bracket 1 where you change rule 0 so you can't swap cycle from the command zone, then there might be a deck.
Okay.
But,
Well,
yeah. Otherwise...
Okay, so if we look at Swamp Cycling here, which I did spell correctly, congratulations me, I think the best of them is probably Troll of Khazad-dûm, just because it costs 1 to Swamp Cycle. But, you know...
Yeah, the thing which would be cool is if you had Swamp Cycling in the command zone, which you can do every turn or multiple times a turn.
Yeah, they're...
And then you just have, 10 lands in your deck?
Oh...
And that lets you do fun things. Guaranteeing a land drop every single turn with way less lands than you should have. Could make for an interesting deck. Black probably wouldn't be the first color I'd pick. There's a commander for each of them. Probably would end up in green as the best one to take advantage of that. But
yeah,
I might make that a legitimate bracket 1 deck now.
You know, I heard that there was a promotion coming up for June that they've been doing regularly where they make it legal to do any two legendary creatures as partners for Pride Month, and having the common Bebop and the common Rocksteady as partners would be kind of beautiful. That they that they go on a date. Basically, they're like, "Hey, it's June. It's okay. Let's let's explore each other or something." I don't know. But normally you wouldn't be able to play both of them together unless you were playing, say, the other Bebop and Rocksteady as the commander, and these two in the 99. But no matter which way you cut it, Bebop is a card who belongs in the 99. I also think they'd be good in Legends Matter decks that include black, because black does a lot of reanimation, and he is a legend, and he has swamp cycling, and honestly, I think that the basic land type cycling is really underrated, especially if you're someone who plays the triomes that have basic land types, the dual lands that have basic land types. You can go get those at instant speed and guarantee your land drops and your colors really consistently, and then they're a creature card in your graveyard that you could reanimate or something. So I think this guy is actually going to be great in the 99 of a lot of decks. He competes with some of these for like just being a solid common thing, but he's got a few things going for him. So that said, let's look at Casey Jones, Jury Rig Justiciar? Justiciar? I don't know. So for 1 and a red, he's a legendary creature, Human Berserker. He's a 2/1 with haste, and when Casey Jones enters, look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal an artifact card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. So what do you think?
Like you said, if they only do the thing once when they enter, it has to be a really powerful thing.
Mm-hmm.
And drawing one card with hoops that can fizzle is not a powerful thing.
Yeah, I see this as a kind of like challenge commander in the sense of, you know, if you really like Casey Jones and you've never built a deck like this before where it's like, you know, artifacts matter, like an equipment deck or something, you could do it and it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, but honestly, he doesn't meet the benchmarks in a lot of ways. Having haste is cool on a commander. A 2-mana 2/1 with a couple of abilities is pretty good. But the main thing that he does here is just find you an artifact, hopefully. And that, honestly, looking at the top 4, is gonna fail probably like a significant amount of the time. Because you're always gonna have, like, you know, over 30 lands, and only a couple of those can be artifacts.
Even when it succeeds, it's one of your 30 artifacts, not the one of 30.
And it doesn't like get it onto the battlefield or anything. It just puts it in your hand, so you still have to cast it. So I think that and okay, and the question comes up: is it better than the 99? Honestly, probably not. No. Because you can't easily flicker him in the color red. Cloning him wouldn't work very well because he's legendary.
If you want 30 haste creatures for cheap, maybe look at him, but yeah.
You know, honestly, so far all 3 of these I see as like just a little bit below useful. That I still don't see any of these as just straight up trash garbage. But honestly, I think Wizards is pretty good these days about not really printing any cards that are just god-awful. So even the worst cards that they print these days are like, not quite, you know? Doesn't quite add up. So next we move on to the rare Casey Jones Vigilante, who somehow has magnetized a bunch of junk to a machete. For 1 and double red, so 3 total, he's a 4/3 legendary creature Human Berserker who says Gungala for some reason. But he also says when Casey Jones enters, draw 3 cards. At the beginning of your next upkeep, discard 3 cards at random. Huh.
What were you just saying about no bad cards?
What? He's a red commander who draws you 3. And then it says something else on it, but I can't read.
And it says discard your favorite 3 cards.
No,
and feel bad for the whole game.
Honestly, I think the way that you play this commander is you don't have 3 cards on the next turn to discard.
Sure,
That's
you,
genuinely the way you play it. You're going to be playing like lightning bolt and 1 and 2 mana artifacts and instants, and that's the whole deck.
so you wait to play him till turn 5?
I think turn 1 you
6?
cast a spell. Turn 2 you cast 2 spells. Turn 3 you cast like him and draw 3.
Turn 4, you start by
discard.
discarding the rest of your hand that you haven't had time to play all of. So
Okay,
you
I
either have
think you
to.
don't play him on turn 3 then because you need to be able to play some of the things that he drew you. And once again, if you actually can make a lot of benefit off of the draw 3 cards thing, then you would want to do it more, and you can't unless he dies. So,
You could flicker him in the 99 in
okay.
that red flicker deck we talked about before. Mm-hmm. That totally exists somehow.
I mean, I see this guy as a really aggressive, like, kind of hellbent commander, but
Not a great one.
yeah, I am torn. I think what did I hear? I think it was Veggie Wagon. I think is the name of the guy who is on a YouTube channel I'm subscribed to. I believe he built a deck with this as the commander and thought that it would be terrible, but he's like a really creative deck builder. Honestly, I'm always impressed by his work, and he made something pretty crazy out of it. But you know, I don't know. Maybe he's a genius. I can't figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, if you really want to be discarding the cards, or yeah, find a way to spend them and break the downside possible, it's still a lot of work
Yeah. You know what?
to do that.
Build him if you're a genius. But as smart as I sometimes consider myself to be when I'm feeling myself, I think that he's just not worth it. So let's move on to Dark Leo and Shredder. Now, I think that this is some plot line that comes up much after when I stopped playing or stopped watching the shows and stuff. But yeah, I guess we've got like a mind controlled Leonardo or something. But here we do have a white and black ninja. So Dark Leo and Shredder is a white and a black for a legendary creature, mutant ninja turtle human, who is a 1/3 with sneak for a white and a black, as well as attacking ninjas you control have death touch. And whenever Dark Leo and Shredder deal combat damage to a player, create a 1/1 black ninja creature token. Then, if you control 5 or more ninjas, that player loses half their life rounded up.
So this is the first of Ninja Tribal is now viable
Yeah.
decks, and actually want to play Ninja Tribal and not be overshadowed by a different aspect of the deck.
Yeah, because the elephant in that room is, of course, Yuriko the Tiger's Shadow. And a lot of people who play Yuriko, because she is so powerful when optimized, you don't usually play her in lower brackets. And when she is optimized, you take almost all of the ninjas out.
Yep.
Although, personally, I'm playing a Yuriko deck that I consider to be bracket 4, in part because I do include like a dozen actual ninjas. That's where I find her most comfortable, because if you play her in bracket 5, she's basically just like a Thassa's Oracle combo commander like everyone else is. And if you play her lower than that, she's busted as heck. So, but there should be competition for that throne, encouraging people to play ninjas in their ninja deck. And this has that. Giving them Death Touch is a creative pseudo evasion for black-white.
Yep. That, yeah, helps give them the evasion even after they've ninjutsu'd, which is nice. The sneak works from the command zone.
Yes, it does. In fact, just to clarify, what Sneak does is similar to Ninjutsu. You can replace one of your attacking creatures that has gone unblocked with this creature by returning an unblocked attacker to your hand and putting this one on the battlefield. Just like with Ninjutsu, a creature that you sneak into play will enter tapped and attacking, which I got wrong at first. However, a couple of big differences. One is that it isn't an activated ability, it's a triggered ability, and it triggers specifically after blockers are declared. You have to sneak or forever hold your peace. You can't do it at the end of combat like a lot of people do with ninjutsu, like I do with ninjutsu, I mean. The other thing that's important is that since it's not an activated ability, it's an alternate casting cost. Yes, you can sneak legendary creatures from the command zone.
But you still have to play commander tax.
You do have to pay the commander tax because while it's an alternate casting cost, you do still have to pay additional costs like commander tax.
That definitely makes this less likely to be busted bracket 5.
Yeah.
The still decent ninja tribal will be good. The tribal might keep it from bracket 4, but good fun bracket 2 and 3 decks. It does have the one flavor drawback of you definitely can make a deck that is tuned, works good as intended, kills people with ninjas, and plays less ninjas than Yuriko. Because he makes his own ninjas.
I guess so. And Yuriko usually leans really heavily on the 1 mana blue evasive creature. This deck, not including blue, would be very different in like specific. Technically, it would be different in that you would play different cards. However, you would probably be playing a lot of 1 mana white creatures with evasion.
Yep.
I don't know, Healer's Hawks or something. Whatever. Ornithopter, actually. I play in my Yuriko deck.
There were not a lot of white ninjas.
Oh, there were almost no white ninjas. In fact, there was one white ninja before this set releases. So I'm just saying that you're not going to be playing any of the blue ones that Yuriko is. You'll still be playing some of the black ones, and you'll be playing some of the new white ones.
And then making some of your own, and then you get 5 or more, and then that player loses half of that life. That happens after the combat damage. So that kind of devalues some of the combat damage you do, and is going to make finishing people off a little bit hard.
You know what I like here, though? This is a go-wide ninja deck. That I like the idea that, sure, you can hit your opponent because you attacked them with, like, a flyer and then snuck it in, maybe? But in this deck, you could potentially do, like, I'm attacking you with 6 ninjas that are all, like, 1/1s and 2/2s, and you can only block so many of them, and the one that you don't block is the one that I sneak.
Oh, and all the ones all the ones you're attacking with have death touch.
Oh, yeah.
Which, that's gonna, I guess, give an interesting decision to your opponent. Early, they don't want to trade blockers with death touch, but also early is when having their life is going to have the most impact. Which means there's more choices, and they'll pick the one that's the worst for you. That's a little sad, but still definitely potential interesting choices are not bad.
I think this is genuinely the best commander that we've found so far.
Yeah.
Because, yes, you absolutely could build a fairly engaging ninja deck that is black and white now. Some of those white ninjas are going to be playable, and you've still got all the black ones to lean on while being different enough by not including any of the blue ones. You have the interesting challenge of for your opponents of giving them death touch when they attack, and the real big payoff of making people lose half their life so you can get through the early game. You know, you can get people from 40 down to a manageable number for your, like, 2/2s and stuff to kill people.
Well, it takes 5 ninjas hitting, or was it just attacking?
5, I believe you have to control 5 ninjas. Yeah, you just have to control 5 ninjas.
Okay.
So if Dark Leo and Shredder hit somebody, you make a ninja. Then if you have 5 of them, so you could have 4 ninjas when Dark Leo and Shredder hits, make the 5th, and then make someone lose half their life. And I think that is big for a tribe that normally has very small creatures, so that you can get kind of like the majority of the life out of the way. It's not a finishing move. Yeah. It's a setup. It's a softening.
Get people mad at you early game move.
Well, I mean,
which
look, if you've got Shredder in the art, then you're gonna be hopefully
probably
threatening
deserve
people.
it. Yeah.
And
I guess
honestly, that
the
2 mana cost also, that's really cool to start off that soon.
Yep.
Once again, you could play like a Healer's Hawk on turn 1 or an Ornithopter, and then get this guy hitting on turn 2 and getting you your first ninja on turn 2. By sneaking him out, he effectively has haste because he enters tapped and attacking. So I think it's really cool. I'm hesitant to put into Excited to Try only from personal bias because I already have a ninja deck. If it wasn't for that, if I didn't have a ninja deck that I liked, I put him in Excited to Try. So, that said, we gotta move on.
Well, might
Oh,
have to wrap up. I turn
okay.
into a pumpkin soon.
All right, that's fine. This one's going to be a little shorter because the roommate's on, a time constraint here. The video overall. Should we just go ahead and stop now?
Yeah, I mean,
It's
it's
fine
a
if
good
we do.
breaking point.
Let's wrap it up then for part 1 of the standard set. Obviously, we've got a lot more to go. And I haven't got a chance to talk about flavor on hardly any of these things. Like, I have opinions on some of that stuff. In fact, as I wrap it up here, your job for today is done.
I will go make noise in the background. While I'm headed to bed.
Because I want to talk about flavor a little bit here for anyone, any Vorthos who's still sticking around. Because if you don't care about flavor and you just want to see how viable these various commanders are, go ahead and skip on to the next video. But I've heard a lot of talk online about people who don't like the fact that April O'Neil here does not look like the one from the TV show that they remember. In the TV show, she, and in the 1990s movies, she was a white lady who was like ginger, I believe, like kind of red hair. And they kept with the red hair thing, but they've obviously got someone who is not white here. And there are a couple, even Magic channels that are somewhat popular and Magic Reddits and stuff like that would be perpetuating this kind of thing of like, oh, they made another white character in our fandoms, not white, and blah, blah, blah. And I am the opposite of that, especially when there's source material to back it up. Because guess what? The original comic book character, which is the source material for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, was based on the real-life girlfriend of the artist, who was a mixed-race woman. And so she was always drawn, from the beginning, intended to be a mixed-race woman. April was not white until the people got into the fandom a little later. If people are talking about like, oh, true fans think that April is white, no, true fans know that she has been non-white first and non-white many other times. I think that this is a wonderful depiction of her, and same thing with Baxter Stockman. I could swear that there was a version of him where he's white, but that's not what they've done here. And there's only so much conversation that I am willing to have about this kind of stuff, except that, in Magic and in most mediums, it is easy to find white and male and straight protagonists, and it is often hard to find black and non-male and other races protagonists and antagonists, actually, villains who are respectable in some way, and I think that it is important that if we have media that we expect everyone to participate in, and I think we should, then we should have a very diverse group of people represented. Especially, like, you look at Ninja Turtles, the heroes are green. All right, what are people doing when they're like, oh, I think that you look at the world of Ninja Turtles and it's extremely diverse on purpose. Part of the message here is that, like, it's okay to be weird. Everybody's different in weird ways. And, you can still be a badass despite being, like, half owl or half frog or something like that. So I think those people need to get over themselves. And I think that people see it as a trend, but it's the kind of thing of, like, when you are used to privilege, equality feels like oppression. When you're used to 90% of protagonists being like white straight males, then when you see it becoming like 70% of protagonists, then it's like, oh, people throw a fit. It was the same thing with Lord of the Rings, with Aragorn being black and stuff like that. Because, more people got into the Lord of the Rings franchise with the movies, with Peter Jackson movies, than who got into it with the original books, at least in younger generations. And they got used to Viggo Mortensen being Aragorn, and he's great. I love him. I love those movies. But the Lord of the Rings set was not intended to be an adaptation of the movies. It was intended to be an adaptation of the books. And in some cases, they were going to disagree. And it is true that the designers at Wizards of the Coast are looking for opportunities to increase diversity in their products so that the art depicts better the diversity of the players. I don't want this to be a card game that caters exclusively to white people, and I hope that you don't either. So I always want more people of color, more people of different faiths, more people of different genders, and all that kind of stuff. Showing up to my local game store and feeling welcome and having a great time, having fun with me. Because besides everything else, if you wanted to be that exclusive with your hobby's going to die. I mean, to me, the priority is always, I want more people in my hobby. I want more people playing Magic. I want more people showing up to local game stores and supporting them. I want this game to be a success. I want to have people that I can talk to on the internet about these games. And if we lose the people who are, always upset about not seeing exclusively white people on their cards, and in exchange get everything else, that is a trade-off I am happy to make. So that's a speech that I've had in my heart for a little bit that I'm glad to kind of get out there. Other than that, you know what? I just noticed that we got April as a scientist, a ninja, and a detective. And I do believe that those are all kind of roles that she has had at different times. Anything else flavor-wise that I want to discuss? I liked Casey Jones in the movies. Always thought that he was kind of neat. I think that unfortunately a lot of his cards end up being pretty bad. Donatello was my favorite character from the cartoon. And we're going to be going over Donatello cards in the next video, so look forward to that. And, I think that is kind of all that I feel I need to say for today. So I think I'll go ahead and wrap up video number 1 here. I may label this part 1, I may label this part 2, because it's going to take many parts to go over all the Ninja Turtle cards. We should already have the tier list for the commanders that are in the non-standard products up and viewable on here. And of course, every tier list that I create, I feel like I should mention that the template is available on tiermaker.com. You can find this tier list when I'm done with it, and you can do your own take on it. I mean, maybe you think Casey Jones is better. Maybe you think Bebop and Rocksteady is better. Maybe, you think that Baxter Stockman's worse. All legitimate. I mean, you heard us making some arguments, and, questionable is questionable. Maybe you have cracked the code. Somebody, I think, cracked the code on this Casey Jones. So feel free to look up the tier list and, decide where you would put them. Either way, I think I'm going to go ahead and sign off for now. Catch you in the next one. Take care, everybody.